Welcome to the Brady Bunch of Autism, your source for family, parenting, and all things autism and special needs. Created by our family for your family. Live from the Ed Asner Family Center. And now your hosts, Navah and Matt Asner.
Hello and welcome to the Brady Bunch of Autism. This is Matt Asner and my
co-host.
I was going to call you co-host, but I'm not
man.
going to.
Only a man would say that.
It's dangerous area.
Only a man.
My partner in crime, Navah Asner. How are you today?
Hello, Matt.
How are you doing?
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
My favorite day of the week.
So should we explain a little bit about what this show is?
Yes, actually, it's kind of our debut, isn't it?
Well, not really, but we're going to actually release this one as an audio podcast. So this is our first audio podcast, but you're watching us on video, you're seeing us on video. So that's like an added bonus. So, but
if we get a little more dramatic, that's why.
Yeah, exactly.
If I start doing my voices and
right, bounce.
No, I was going to say refer back to, but
refer back to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my uncle was probably the most famous voice actor in the entire world.
That's right. Name dropper.
Mel Blanc, who is long past, but he was the one and only, the greatest of the great, and he's getting so much flack now for Pepe.
Well, I don't think he's getting flack. He's not getting flack.
Well, no, but I mean, Pepe Le Pew is one of his favorite characters.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that says a lot about him. Maybe you should get flack.
No, he was the sweetest, kindest, moral gentleman. He was not a gentleman. He was a gentleman.
Okay, so I wonder what he would say about this issue with.
He'd say it's absolute nonsense.
Probably, yeah. But he's actually an amazing force.
Yeah, he is.
He voiced pretty much every one of those cartoons.
Absolutely.
I'll never himself.
And I told you the story. I'll never forget. My kids went to this tiny little Jewish day school in the Valley, and it just so happened, and I don't even know what it was, like the power of attraction. All of these amazing, famous voiceover actors happened to send their children to the same tiny little Jewish day school. And I was speaking, we all became really close friends. And I was speaking to my friend Maurice LaMarche, who's good friends with your dad.
Yeah.
And Maurice said, I don't even remember how it came up. And he said, I mentioned that Uncle Mel was related to us. Actually, his wife Estelle is my blood relation, and he said that's like saying that you're related to Jesus Christ. He's like that. He is our God. So it's wonderful, and I'm still very close to that whole community, which is why we're very excited to get back into the whole voiceover and looping and all that world again.
So. We have kind of a theme on our show today.
We do.
Yeah, we're talking with autistic self-advocates today. Mm-hmm. People who are
some
on the spectrum,
old, some new, some young.
Yeah, but I thought we'd start out with a story. By the way, what is on our movie chat this Saturday? Do we know?
Oh wow, you're catching me for a loop. Our social director Chelsea is not on.
She's not on.
Carolyn probably knows. Carolyn Clausen, do you know what Chelsea is going to be showing our movie chat on our social club on?
Well, we'll get that to you guys.
We'll get that to you.
And we'll tell you
Milo will look it up.
Yes, but interesting story that our producer Steve came up with. This young man named Ryan Lowy, who's in Virginia, Leesburg, Virginia, and. He's an autistic young man, 20 years old, faced with, he works in a coffee shop right now, but he wants to expand his horizons and expand his career and start on his career. He really wants a career in animation. So he was wondering what the best way of doing that was. So he decided he was going to write a letter to his
future employers
or possible employers to read. So he did it on LinkedIn, and he wrote it in longhand.
Oh, I didn't know.
He wrote it in longhand, and so I have it here, and I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna post it up here, and I'm gonna read it if I can find it.
Well, I know
there
that
it is.
Steve takes credit for that, but
So-
I actually saw that some days ago. It's actually gone viral.
That's right. So he's a young man who's looking for a job. So his dear future employer, my name is Ryan Lowy. I'm 19 years old. I live in Leesburg, Virginia, and I have autism. I also have a unique sense of humor and am gifted at math, really good with technology, and a really quick learner. I am interested in a job in animation or in IT. I realize that someone like you will have to take a chance on me. I don't learn like other people do. I would need a mentor to teach me, but I learn quickly once you explain it. I get it. I promise that if you hire me and teach me, you'll be glad that you did. I will show up every day, do what you tell me to do, and work. And then he has a little end and signs it, Ryan Lowy. So Ryan sent this out on LinkedIn, and he's had an overwhelming response, which is an amazing story, really.
Yeah.
Because
it's gone viral.
We know so many people who parents and individuals who
Right.
are having trouble finding work. My brother
100%.
is a great example of that, having a lot of trouble getting work. And Laura Lindsay Jones says here, being honest and explaining this is the best human. That's true. It's true. So he's had 6 million people view this on LinkedIn. 6 million people.
And hopefully prospective
No,
employers.
he's had hundreds of people respond to him.
That's wonderful.
And he will most likely find a job out of this, which is an amazing thing, because it's not only amazing for him, it's amazing that his story highlights something that is really an important thing to highlight, which is the underemployment of people on the spectrum, the underemployment of autistic people.
The statistic is staggering,
and huge.
I know we just saw it in
Well,
John and Karen's
80 or 90%.
Yeah.
And so he's actually pushed this into the limelight, which is a huge thing. So thank you, Ryan Lowy. If you ever see this, thank you for taking something as important as employment and autism in the workforce and putting it in the limelight, because a lot of people are looking for jobs. And I just got one more funny story, not funny, but one more great story.
But
about
also,
this.
not to interrupt you, which I love doing.
You do love
no, I love interrupting. Is that he is saying, just take a chance.
Yes.
People have such preconceived ideas, and
Take a chance.
what he's saying is, and that's from the get-go of the center, that was just a no-brainer that we were going to involve and employ, but also the autistic self-advocates and the autistic adults are helping co-create and co-run our programs as well.
And I just want to say, we have a good friend up in Arizona.
Oh, perfect example.
Who just posted on Facebook yesterday that her daughter's been looking for work, having a very tough time finding work, like most people do. And she walked into a Vons and had an interview with Vons, and they said, okay, well, we'd like you to take some paperwork home and fill it out and bring it back.
Well, the greatest part of that,
and tell us what your schedule is.
The greatest part of the story was that was the first interview that she had gone in on alone. Right. That she had said, okay, Mom, wait in the car. I have this. And Pam was like, you have this? What are you talking about? And then when she hadn't come out yet, she eventually went into the store looking for her, because she thought, like, what is going on? Why is it taking so long? Because she thought, like most interviews she's had in the past, it's 5 quick, minutes, like, okay,
yeah, no, thank
next. You. And it took so long that she actually went in and to find her. And, it had already wrapped up, and they'd already hired her. And Pam got very emotional and was thanking everyone. And it was a wonderful experience. And Vons.
And that store is Vons.
Vons is
Safeway,
wonderful,
Albertsons.
And has been very inclusive in the past. So
we
all applaud Vons.
Yeah. And a good support of us, actually, in the past and hopefully in the future. So, So
I like Charlotte's. Is that Charlotte?
Let's see,
We're
Charlotte.
putting Charlotte.
Good evening, everyone. I was diagnosed with level 2 ASD in April 2020 at the age of 45 years old. Never give up on your dreams, goals, and whys. That's for sure, right?
Absolutely.
And hello, Stephen King. Hello. Say hello to Stephen King.
I love that author.
No,
That's
it's
like
Stephen
literally
King.
one of my favorite writers of all time.
Then it's okay not to perfect answer. Just be yourself. It's genuine. I agree. Just be yourself. That's the most important thing about a job interview. The most important thing about a job interview is to just be yourself, is to be honest.
But also,
because when you get to the job, you're going to be yourself.
But also for the employer to not always take the first impression.
Yeah.
Because, I have pretty severe anxiety disorder. I'm not ashamed to say that. And, there are things that are triggers for us, for the community.
Yeah.
And you could be going in on an interview and, the lights that we are in the studio are very triggering. And there are so many things and unknown factors that are triggering and could cause you to act and appear differently or strange to somebody who doesn't know what's happening to you. And anxiety, we were just going through it ourselves, interviewing people, and you can't always just judge a book by its cover and just take somebody for their initial impression until you dig a little bit deeper. And I think that's what that letter is really telling us all, to give somebody a second chance, give somebody.
And there we go.
Oh my gosh.
So
I apologize for Maddie.
So
well, let's talk about our first guest, because we have two exciting guests today.
Yes. Who are we going to see first?
You're going to make
Alfie's been waiting, so I think we should bring Alfie in
Yes, let's
first.
bring Alfie first.
So
and Amy, I like to end with Amy because she's my Amy. She's my girl.
So we're going to bring Alfie Bowen in. Alfie Bowen, how are you?
Hello, good, thanks. Hello from England.
So
Hello,
I've got to say,
mate.
Your name is Alfie, and you're calling from where, in London?
No, Suffolk, right on the coast of England.
Suffolk. Okay. Has anyone ever?
You're gonna do this joke.
I'm sorry.
What's
I have
it
to.
all about?
What's it all about, Alfie?
Okay, he doesn't
How many
get
times
that.
have you heard that?
He's
Hundreds.
yeah.
I'm sure, but actually, Alfie, thank you. It must be very late there. What time is it there?
10:15 in the evening.
Oh, that's not so bad.
Past my bedtime, but maybe not yours. So, Alfie, you've got a great story. You've got an amazing story, a victorious story, a story of discovering self-confidence and believing in yourself
and hope and not giving up. And I personally really connected with Alfie's story because I have suffered with panic attacks and general anxiety my entire life. And it's hard to explain to somebody if they haven't been in that place. And it's a very, very scary place. It can be a very unknown, and you never know when it's going to happen. And I applaud everything that Alfie has been through and been able to overcome.
So Alfie, let's start at the beginning. So you were diagnosed when you were 11 years old, but that was after a long battle with your family to get diagnosed. And believe me, we both know what that's like. We have kids that we had to battle to get them diagnosed. So it's not that different here in the States. Tell us a little bit about, the battle of getting diagnosed and what you had to go through to do that.
So we've been trying for several years. My mum is actually a qualified nursery nurse, so she's got a lot of experience with children. And she knew from the start that I was likely autistic, but none of the professionals here would listen to her or consider diagnosis. And until I was 11, and we ended up going to a special centre, and I went and lived in house for 6 weeks with mum and my sister, which probably for any child is a scary prospect, but for someone with autism and a generalised anxiety disorder, it was a nightmare basically. But I came away 6 weeks later with a diagnosis of autism and generalized anxiety disorder.
And did that probably changed your life, I would imagine?
Yeah, it gave me access to a lot more, well, a lot more assistance, but that didn't really, I guess I got it in primary school, but by the time I got to mainstream high school, I didn't get any help at all. I was put in a school of 1,000 pupils,
Wow.
a class of 30 pupils. Not one of them said hello, showed any interest in getting to know me. I would sit in form like tutor time, staring at the clock, waiting for the clock to strike 3 so I could get home. And my one interest was always animals, so I would sit in there. My way of getting through the tutor time was to sit and read about animals, and I would constantly be laughed at because I wasn't reading about the so-called normal topics amongst teenagers. And that I had constant bullying for 10 years, really. Mainstream, I got food thrown at me, was called names, was punched and spat at, and goodness knows what. And this ended up with me first trying to commit suicide at 15 years old. And I tried 4 more times after that.
Oh, man.
And so you got some help, obviously, and you put yourself together, and you discovered that you have an incredible
He
talent.
found an outlet.
Found an outlet for this.
Something to inspire him.
And you created your own destiny, basically, because, you know, being a victim of bullying is probably one of the most difficult things in the world to deal with. I luckily wasn't bullied that much, but you know, every time I hear about it, I get like prickly hairs on my neck, and I get very upset because I just think it's an awful place to exist in a bullying situation. So I give you a tremendous amount of credit to get out of that.
Common
in
our community.
Very, very common. Very common. So you mentioned your love of animals, and that is eventually what kind of brought you into kind of the limelight, let's say, and what gave you a purpose and what created an outlet for you, like Navah said. So explain to us what you're doing now, and talk to us about your art and the importance of it to you.
So during the time at school, I had no way of getting my voice out. I knew what I wanted to say, but I couldn't physically get it out. And no one really invested any time in getting to know me. So I started trying to think of ways that I could get my voice out and my love of animals. And randomly one day, I'd exhausted all my animal books, which I'd read over and over again. So I picked up Mum's little compact Lumix camera and started taking pictures with that, and fell in love with photography. Discovered that it was a way I could get my feelings out without having to say them. And then I got slowly progressed through different cameras, taught myself how to use them and everything. And then started getting recognized for my wildlife photography about 4 years ago now. So every time
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Every time I would get anxious or anything, we'd go for a trip to the beach or to the zoo, because around animals is the only place I used to feel comfortable and myself.
Would you mind if I showed a little bit of your website to the people who are watching us?
No, please do.
Talk a little bit about what we're looking at here. Here we go. So, I mean, these are really incredible shots. Now, can you tell us where you shot these?
Incredible.
Most of my work is shot in zoos around the UK at the moment. Wow. So I spend sometimes up to 6 hours on a single image. I'll often envisage the composition and the idea mentally, and then sketch it out, and then go into the field and spend however long it takes until I turn that idea into the actual image.
And have you been on safaris?
Not yet, but that's in the works for next year, hopefully.
Well, that's great. I want to see those pictures.
I love the snow leopard.
These are amazing. What's your favorite animal to shoot?
Probably the zebra. I like stripes.
The zebra.
The zebra?
Yeah.
These are beautiful.
Unbelievable. Oh,
Beautiful,
I love that
Alfie.
one. Look at the one of the giraffe in the kind of the twilight with the
Gorgeous.
baby. Beautiful.
And so do you sell these to the public, obviously?
Yeah, I just the end of last year, sorry, I got signed by the UK's biggest art gallery network, Castle Fine Art. So I have my first collection coming out in 40 galleries across the UK later
Oh my gosh.
this spring.
Congratulations.
Oh, wow.
How
And
can people
my first coffee table book will be published globally in September as well.
Oh,
and so how can people get a copy of that?
On my website, alfiebowen.photography. Or Instagram at Alfie Bowen.
Alfie Bowen Alfie Bowen Photography?
alfiebowen.photography.
Okay. We'll put it up in our comments later on.
I'm very, very much excited to get that book, Alfie.
So he's got 40 galleries. He's going to be in 40 galleries in the UK in the fall. He's going to have a coffee table book that he's releasing in the fall. And you've got a film that's all about you, right?
Yeah, we shot a short film last year for Water Bear Network, which are the Netflix for wildlife and conservation films. So they followed me around and taken pictures in zoos, and then we went for a little bit at the gallery, and they also interviewed Mum as well.
Incredible. And it's and how can people see this film?
Go on Water Bear Network.
Waterbed Network. Okay. And they can stream it there, or?
Yeah, you can register a free account. The film's called An Eye for Detail.
An Eye for Detail. Take a look.
But Alfie, you're also very outspoken as an advocate too. I was reading how his experiences as a young man, especially in high school, makes him, further just fuels him to bring more awareness and talk more about autistic, the autistic experience. And I that is wonderful. Matt and I have 3 autistic sons, and each one of them is completely different. But being solitary and not having friends is one of the things that is equally as hard, I'm sure, for your mom as it was for you, because it's very, very hard for a parent. I'm going to get emotional, but to see, but I'm proud as you're, I'm proud, and your pictures are incredible.
They are.
Thank you.
So Alfie, what, let's say someone's watching who's autistic and is being bullied. What do you have to say to them? What's the message to them?
Speak to your parents. Don't be afraid to tell them what's happening. And I kind of tell everyone to never give up on your dreams and yourself, because if I can do it, then any other autistic child can. I actually mentor quite a few here in the UK. I get a lot of autistic children write to me, and I take them out on photography trips, and that really helps. So try getting into something creative to get your emotions out as well.
Wow. I agree 100% with you.
Beautiful.
And I gotta say, how much importance do you put on self-confidence? Because you obviously found self-confidence. So how much importance do you put on self-confidence and finding self-confidence?
Still something that's ongoing for me. I still have days where I lose all confidence in myself. There's days where I'll go out and spend a whole day and come back with absolutely 0 photos. Days where I just don't feel brilliant. But tomorrow, I just remember that tomorrow is always a new day, a new opportunity.
I think that's the strongest message, is never give up and persevere. And when you hit an obstacle, you don't turn around and go the other way. You go over it. You figure a way through it. And you're incredibly inspirational. And we're all definitely going to buy your book and look for your film. And, I really pray that you can go one day and see these beautiful animals in person and free and as they should be. And I can't imagine the book you're going to make after that.
And Alfie, I hope you'll come back on when the book is released, and so we can talk about the book and show some pictures from the book. And
promote it. Yeah.
That sound good?
Yeah, brilliant.
Okay.
Thank you, Alfie.
Well, Alfie, thank you. Best of luck to you, and
so wonderful meeting you.
We'll talk soon.
Brilliant. Thanks.
All right. Incredible story.
Oh man.
You got a little bit.
Oh man, I could have.
Little bit.
I could have. I was holding back. Believe me, because you can't help but imagine one of our guys going through that. But
well, I had a little tinge, but it didn't come out. But
you weren't as unprofessional as I.
No, I'm professional. That's not unprofessional.
No, I'm kidding. No, I just I just think he's heroic to also be very vulnerable and say to his parents, I'm suffering, I'm going through something, and to be able to voice that, because so many kids, we've lost so many kids this year, especially during the pandemic. We've lost a lot of kids to depression and suicidal ideology. And
it's boy, it's bad.
It is. It's a pandemic, But for him to be brave and to be able to make that first step, because we can't help anybody if we don't know what's going on with them. And that's a wonderful thing. And I'm sure his mom is a wonderful, wonderful woman to create and raise a son like that.
He's an inspiration for sure.
Absolutely.
An inspiration for sure.
Absolutely. And we definitely want to have him back on.
Yeah.
So I owe you, Milo.
And I'm sorry about the joke, but I had to do it.
No, of course. One of my favorite songs. It's Dionne Warwick, right?
Dionne Warwick did sing that song. Yes. And I think a couple other people did. Burt Bacharach wrote it.
She's
Burt Bacharach
only Diane. So, okay. I'll get my zen back. Yeah, I got very emotional.
So we have another guest.
Yes.
So
my dear friend and an incredibly intelligent, beautiful lady who we met at our very first Camp Ed, before we even had the center.
Right.
We were dreaming about the center, and we were just, like little hobos going around borrowing space and sharing space with others. And we started this incredible expressive arts camp called Camp Ed. And Amy Faigin, who's an incredible self-advocate and educator, she joined us as our original art teacher. So Amy is amazing, and she helps kind of enlighten me and keep me aware and knowledgeable about all things autistic and in the community. And I just thought she would be a wonderful person to
she's awoken you.
I am. I'm totally woke, Amy. You're so hip. You're so hip, Matt.
Let's bring Amy in so we can talk to her. Hi, Amy.
Hi, good afternoon.
How are you? Sorry about last week, first of all. We were supposed to have Amy on last week as a guest, and I totally screwed up, and I spelled her name wrong in her email. So.
I love your hair.
Thank you. I like being pink. It's fun.
Super cute.
And so, first of all, we haven't spoken. I don't think I've spoken with you through the pandemic.
At the very beginning. I think.
At the very beginning.
Yeah.
I see your boyfriend, and that's someone I keep in touch with because we need him for fish reasons. And
he was a hero the other day.
He was.
For sure.
I don't know if he told you the other day. We had a mishap in our family room where a 50-gallon tank just completely depleted of water, and
he saved all the babies.
He saved all our babies.
He did. Incredible. He was incredible.
Guy's a hero.
Well, there's another guy who really, like Alfie, he loves animals.
Yeah.
He just knows. I mean, Amy knows more about animals than anybody I've ever met. And I think actually, I thought earlier I wanted you on to talk to Alfie because you would have loved to talk to him because
I need, with his consent, I do need his contact information to talk to our neurodivergent photography class, and I want to pick his brain about hanging out at the zoo all day if he's ever in the States.
If it's okay with him, I'll pass his information over to you. If give me a nod there, Alfie, and I'll do it. Okay, I will.
He gave us a thumbs up.
He gives us
Amy.
a thumbs up, so I'll give you his information.
Because I'm a fellow autistic person who spends all day at the zoo, although I draw animals.
Yes. And I've told the story that your mom told me 100 times about you being a tiny little baby and saying there's a giant spider in the other room. And instead of being afraid, she's explaining to her mom, and this is a kid who's old enough to could barely, should not have been saying more than a couple of words. And she was talking about the specific species of spider and, I'm sure you tried to capture it.
What was the exact name of the spider? Because I remember.
So his name was Harold, and he was a western brown tarantula.
A tarantula.
And we ended up keeping him for the rest of his life. He ate a lot of crickets.
Now, how long do tarantulas live?
The males don't have a very long life expectancy, 6 months to a year. Females can live to be 20 plus.
Oh my
gosh.
They're a commitment.
Why is it that the males always kind of get the short end of the stick in nature?
They live a fun life. It's just not a long life.
In the world of spiders, males really get the short end of the stick.
Only in the world of spiders.
They don't fare well. Amy, let's talk a little bit about.
Let Amy talk about what she's been doing, because she's been doing a lot of stuff since the last time we saw her. So tell us, Amy, especially about some of the speaking engagements you've done recently, and
well, there haven't been too many public speaking engagements, but I have been doing a lot of work. I've been working through my master's right now. I'm getting that in cognitive diversity and education through the Bridges Graduate School. And that's been it's been unique being an autistic person studying autistic people. It's been surreal, but it's also been a really embracing experience because it's one of the first neurodivergence education programs I've seen that sees us as whole people and is really doing an acceptance rather than a remediation approach.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure, knowing you wanted to have your highlighter and edit the.
Oh, I nitpick. That's that's the long and short of it. Is that autistic people, we nitpick a little bit.
Right. I wanted to talk about the whole dating thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Can we talk about that?
We can totally talk about that.
Dating?
Well, I was, and Amy knows kind of the story, but we were so inspired, Matt and I, by watching the Netflix show Love on the Spectrum. And because we have a social club, we have a counseling group of mental health caregivers here. We wanted to kind of expand the social club and create a dating relationship kind of program. We have an autistic, our autistic adult social director is Chelsea Darnell. She's also involved in helping us create some of the program and kind of especially some of the entertainment and the events. So how many times have you both, I'm sure Alfie too, been forced by your parents to go to socials or dating or whatever, speed dating? We wanted this to really be a natural program that's for all aspects of relationship, whether it's somebody like yourself who's in a relationship, somebody who wants to start dating, maybe somebody who is already dating but is mostly doing it online. And so the long and short of it is we really wanted this to be an in-person program. It's not something that really is successful or relates on Zoom. So we've had to really just continue to push our dates and delay our debut. And so now we're at the cusp of our first class, which is going to be April 26th. And I spoke to, can I say that I spoke to some people related to the, so they're going to bring a second Love on the Spectrum to America. It's originally from Australia. And the first person I thought of is Amy, because I thought, you know, I'm thinking of the couples on the first show, and I just thought Amy and Sketch, perfect for the show. But, you know, we're going to talk more with the producers, and we're going to, in our next show, we're going to talk about how can you try out for this amazing program that's coming. And coming to America, there's going to be an American version of Love on the Spectrum. It's going to be amazing. And I'm hoping that Amy and Sketch are going to be a part of it.
But let's talk about your program and about.
I thought I was.
But I mean, how can people sign up for that?
Oh, well, it's
Right?
actually going to be led by Chrissa, who's our mental health director, and Chrissa and Chelsea Darnell and some of the therapists and myself. We've come together to create this new program that's starting next month called Dating on the Spectrum. And Dating on the Spectrum is going to be from A to Z. It's going to be a weekly program. It's going to be very small, so it's a very limited space available type thing because we want to do it in person. It's very COVID compliant. We're, you know, the same way we did with our camp ed. We're all 10 feet apart, and it's very safe. But it is going to be very limited space available. So you can reach out to Chrissa at teafc.org for more information. And the great thing about our program is you can come as an absolute, you know, you've never dated before and you just want to listen in, all the way to somebody who is in a relationship but doesn't really know how to break up with their boyfriend, or to take, you know, a romantic relationship to a friend's level. And you can request a one-on-one support counselor. So we actually have the ability for you to have one-on-one support as well as joining this kind of group setting.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, I always joke that Sketch is going to be the last person I ever date, though.
Well, I hope, I mean, you know, kind of, or I hope that's true.
That's what we always want.
But, and we always say that when we're young, and not saying that that's not going to happen. But
you like him, right? I can keep him.
I do.
Okay.
He's like one of my kids
Very
now.
much.
Okay.
No, it's the highlight of my day when he comes by. Seriously.
Aw.
He has
Sweet.
the cutest critter for you, Matt, in our quarantine tank right now. You're gonna love this thing.
Oh, I think he showed me a picture of this.
Well,
It's round, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
grumpy.
no. I
well,
can't
we
wait
love
to see
our
him.
goldfish. I mean, our giant goldfish.
Oh my gosh.
That's
That's the thing. If you haven't, if you've come to the center and seen what the center is, you'll know that there are fish tanks throughout the center, and Sketch is responsible for those fish tanks. We would not have them if it weren't for Sketch. And you know, they're all beautiful. And we have the newest one we have is a tank with goldfish in it. They look like carp. They're huge. They're like
I
this
thought
big.
they were koi fish.
They're like
They're
a
giant.
foot long. I mean, it's
But I mean, the
unbelievable.
same way Alfie felt about animals, I felt about the ocean. So when I'm close to anything that's sea related, it's very soothing. And I know in a kind of therapeutic way, it's for a lot of people. So we have fish tanks basically in every one of our therapy rooms, in our main room. And we absolutely couldn't have done that without Sketch, because the thing about anybody who's ever had a fish tank, including us, you have good intentions in the beginning. Amy and Sketch came to our house to rescue Eddie's fish, but you know, inevitably you don't know how to
this big now.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Wait, no
Wow.
way.
She's getting big.
I thought that fish was.
Well, it's
Nope.
funny because we have had our casualties at the center.
Yes.
And in the beginning, I think it was because of me, but then I think later.
Yeah, you were overfeeding them.
Well, yeah, but then I learned.
Yes.
And
Sketch.
Unfortunately, some fish had to be the expense of my learning.
Yes.
But you know, That's
But
life in the big city.
And you really have become like the fish handler.
Oh no, I love the fish.
Yeah,
I love.
he talks to them.
They're important to me. It's funny because Sketch also brought a bearded dragon here, and our producer Steve is he's like he's the mama to that bearded dragon.
He's shaking his head.
Truly is the mama, and I see him walking. I've got some great worms for. What's the name?
Puff the magic
I've got
dragon.
some really nice worms from Puff today. Oh yeah. So
I think we should get a rabbit.
No rabbits.
Okay. Well,
No
we
rabbits.
have Panda. We have
We'll escalate our zoo slowly.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Well, God willing, Amy, one day we're going to have the Oasis where we have an actual, kibbutz setting where we can have camp bed overnight. And we can have a real farm. I mean, that's always been my dream, and I'm not giving up on that dream. I really want to have our overnight camp one day, very soon.
It's gonna happen.
And then you guys might have to move to the farm to help me create this kind of,
We need to talk about this off the air, but you and I are on similar wavelengths on this front.
All right, I love it.
All right. Okay.
But it's funny because Alfie was talking about feeling bullied and isolated and finding empathy in animals. And I think that's a really common experience within our community. That's why I'm an animal person. I yanked Sketch right into this fish hobby, even though he's exploded all over it on his own. Like that love of animals is something that we connect over. And it's something that I've connected with a lot of neurodivergent people through. That's like one of my quickest approaches in a biology class is through love of animals, and through art, it's through drawing animals. A lot of our community has felt ostracized by people, I think, and it can be easier to understand and connect with animals. And then that becomes an avenue to connect with other people again.
100%. 100%.
It's interesting because we have Navah's mentioned we have Panda, which is this kind of crazy sheepadoodle that we have now that's become this.
Have you met Panda yet?
Dog.
No,
I haven't met Panda yet, but you remember when I brought Lulu around.
Yeah.
And I was scared of her.
You were scared of my little 13-pound.
I had a traumatic dog experience.
Well, it's amazing.
Panda's actually healing me.
It's actually amazing because Navah has this intense fear of dogs.
Yeah.
I would call it an intense fear.
Well, I am a cat. I mean, you guys like animals, but I am a cat.
So the thought of bringing a dog in,
can sense my catness.
The thought of bringing a dog into the house or center was something that troubled me. But to be honest, but I will say this: it's been amazing to watch her transform into this kind of mom to this dog.
And Panda it's
incredible,
the sweetest sweetheart who really.
I didn't want the dog. But
you did not want the dog.
But I am. If anything were to ever happen to that dog now, I think I would probably lose it.
Deeply bonded to her
in a big way because she is.
But if somebody's upset, one of the kids was crying the other day. She came over and she literally just rested her head on their lap, and like you say, there's an empathy between
100%
animals that we just.
100%.
It's just they don't want anything. There's no
non-judgmental.
Yes, it's absolutely. And I definitely see that Panda is really on her way to being a wonderful therapeutic.
100%.
She's part of the team.
She is. She's
part of the team, part of the family.
Mm-hmm.
So Amy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we're gonna talk to you soon.
And I definitely want you to come back on next month, Amy, when we have the class up and running, and even if you could be one of our guest speakers, that would be amazing too, because you and Sketch are, you've come so far, and so many of our community and our participants want to believe that there's a happy ending for them as well. So I think your story would be very inspirational and your relationship story as well.
Yeah, we just hit 5 years a couple of weeks ago.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I still like him.
Congrats. And you still like him. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, tell him we say hello.
I will.
And we will talk soon.
Love you, Amy.
Love
Bye-bye.
you too. Bye bye.
We have a lot of comments today. And
Aw, my
And
friend it's on.
someone just said
Hi, Hannah.
Radio Disney super fan says, but then when she goes,
When I was 16, my mom got a dog, and now I'm no. Me too.
But then when I was 16, my mom got a dog, and now
Yeah.
I'm no longer scared of dogs. And that's it. You've got to have interaction with dogs.
Well, she knows Eddie, and Eddie is still. It's taking him a long time to get used to Panda, but we see a little light at the end of the tunnel. Don't look at me like that.
You got to work at it more.
Me personally,
yes, I think so.
I think I've come a long way.
You got to work it. Well, I think
I've come a long way.
anytime you cordon off a room to give Eddie his lunch or dinner, I think then we're working around the dog instead of working with the dog.
Okay, but so, we have at least opened the window.
No, I will say
not
this.
Doing that.
I've seen you relax about it.
Yeah.
And I've seen you want to kind of
and
push them into interaction.
And because we have the kids with us, and they're kind of pushing Eddie to be more a part of Panda. I think that he's also being redirected as well, and he's trying really hard. He's trying really hard.
He's trying hard, yeah.
And he is. I mean, you have to understand that when you're afraid of dogs, the more you push somebody towards that dog, the more the person on the other side is frightened by the dog, and the dog feels that fright.
I agree.
Because I've had that happen to me a million times.
Because a dog can read fear.
Yeah, I mean, I've had dogs respond to me dozens of times, and the owner will say, "I've never had Sheppy do that before. Sheppy's never treated somebody like that. Sheppy's never tried to snap somebody's neck off."
You exude energy though, so
I'm terrified
any
of most
emotion
dogs.
that you have is going to be exuded.
Certain breeds I'm more afraid of, but yeah.
What breed are you most afraid of?
Probably German Shepherds and Rottweilers.
Yeah, is that because
Dobermans.
The omen?
No, there's a lot of reasons. But
okay, we won't go into that. But
that was a Rottweilers. German Shepherds, number one.
Okay. I don't know if I'm afraid of any dog breed, but I don't know.
I'm afraid of pretty much most dogs. Amy's dog is about this big. And it was just looking at me. And Alex's dog Max, which is actually a German Shepherd, by the way, small German Shepherd though. He's super small for a German Shepherd. But he definitely could see. He was eyeing me, and he could see that. He was following me around.
Eyeing me. He was looking.
He was giving me the hairy eyeball. He was giving me the hairy eyeball.
So Carolyn Clausen asks, "How is Ed Asner doing? Has he gotten both doses of the vaccine?" Yes, he has.
Oh, he just got the second.
He has, and
no side effects.
He's the Iron Man. He
crazy.
No problem.
Everyone I've heard of has had issues with the second one, and he had nothing.
He had Moderna, and he did fine. Thank you for asking, Carolyn. So that's it for today. That's our show. Hope you enjoyed it. We talked to two incredible people.
Incredible, inspirational. It's so important to hear both Alfie and Amy's story. And you can, if you missed any part of this, I definitely would suggest that you listen to it on our new podcast.
Yes,
and
on
iTunes
and Spotify and
Matt Asner?
Pod City. I don't know. I've just made that one up. But iTunes and Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay.
You can find our podcast. And what is the movie Saturday?
Radio Disney Superfan. What is the movie on Saturday? I know you know. Radio Disney Superfan. You can have the last word on the show today.
On Saturday.
What is the movie on Saturday? Great show today. What is the movie on Saturday? What is Chelsea's movie on Saturday?
Laura Lindsay Jones says, "You uplifted me." That's so sweet. Thank you so much, Laura.
Well, Alfie uplifted me, and Amy always uplifts me.
Jimmy Neutron is, oh my gosh. Wait a second.
Debbie Derryberry.
Yes.
Wait a minute. If I had known that, Debbie was one of the parents.
Stop the presses.
Are you good? Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Debbie was one of the parents at our small little Jewish day school.
Right.
Crazy. This
So,
world
well,
is
why don't
so
you
crazy.
explain? I think we're talking in code here, so let's.
Debbie Derberry and, well, Chelsea Darnell's show, Movie Chat, is on Saturday nights. And if you'd like to sign up, you have to reach out to Shelby at teafc.org, because they do have limited space in that program as well. But this week, Saturday, they're showing Jimmy Neutron, and Jimmy Neutron is my good friend Debbie Derberry, voices Jimmy Neutron.
And she will be the guest on this evening of
She's
Movie
going to
Chat.
be live, I think. She's going to
Yeah.
actually be doing Q&A. So
Q&A.
unfortunately, I think you should take that down, because I just realized that they're already full.
Oh, they're already full.
Yes. And that was, I'm sorry. I
But
apologize
this
for
should
that.
serve as a message to you to keep watching our Facebook and to look at our social media, because we are having these guests pop up more often. And once it's posted, it fills up extremely quickly.
Yes.
So,
And there's going to
keep
be,
looking.
like Matt says, there's going to be many more. See,
yeah.
awesome.
All right. There we go. That was a good show.
Okay. If you do so
It was a good
yourself. Modesty is not his best feature, but thank you all for joining us. And thank you always for supporting the Brady Bunch of Autism. And we will see you next Friday. Have a wonderful week.
And keep your seatbelts fastened.